proud tonight that healing and thinking of medical care and thinking of how we respond to the environments around us with regard to health are all part of that process. And so I really want to thank Adam Schomer, who's here, the producer of the film. Thank you, Adam.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Portia, who you saw in the film and who did the work. And
some jokes. Yeah.
Probably the word that was used most in the film was belief, and a word that was used close to the number of times belief was fear. But then there was a word that was in play, but was only mentioned at one time. And I'll give you a quote of the one person who mentioned that word. He said, "Death is an experience, death is not you." Wow, that's wow, what a comment. But he was the only one who mentioned death. When you have healing, you have failure of healing, and then you have death. And in a sense, one could say that throughout this film, there was a denial of death. There was no mention of death, although it is in the background. Is there a fear of mentioning death?
I'd like to address that one.
Sure, I love it.
Yeah, so that was Deepak Chopra that said that. And what he's referring to is that the soul doesn't die. The physical body, you know, the vessel that provides us our wonderful life on this planet, dies. And but the soul doesn't. So that is what he's referring to. And the fear of death is like the major fear that we all live with, right? I mean, that's the ultimate fear. And if you can get to the point spiritually where you embrace the idea that you are more than this physical body, and if you're faced with something like cancer, you know that you're more than this physical body. And getting rid of that fear does so much to just help the immune function. So the work that I focus on is the mental, emotional, and spiritual levels, and I call it holistic stress reduction, and it's really about supporting immune function. Because when we're in that freeze, fight, or flight response, we're creating all this internalized stress, and all the stress hormones are flooding our body that suppress immune functions. When we live in our love and our trust and our compassion that everything is unfolding in perfect order and as it should, we're supporting our immune function. We're not living in fear. We're embracing love. You know, I was talking to Adam at dinner tonight about what the big picture is and why we're on this planet. And in my perspective, it's, you know, we're all a spiritual being. Each one of us is a spiritual being having our own unique human experience on Earth. And as spiritual beings having a human experience, we're given free will to choose, right, what path we're going to take. Also choose how we're going to perceive any given situation. Is this situation something that is attacking us? Is this a friendly world, or is this a hostile world that we're in? You know, if we approach it as a friendly world, and things that come to us are for our learning opportunities, our healing opportunities, our personal growth, it's a different perspective than being a victim of things that happen. We have more power and control over our thoughts and our beliefs. And when we realize that, we're actually supporting our immune system because we're trusting, we're not living in fear. I don't know if that helps. That's the answer.
Someone else did mention death in the film. Liz, right? She came to Dianne to learn how to die. That's why she went to her, to not be afraid of death. But no, I don't think we were denying death in the film. I mean, I know me personally, most of my films leading up to this are all about death.
And I think that Liz acknowledging, you know, when she said that she came to me to just accept the possibility of dying from stage 4 cancer, that releasing that fear helped so much in her ability to heal, you know, because she wasn't holding on to that fear. When you can make that internal shift from fear to love, it's remarkable, you know, it's allowing the body to just gracefully move back into that place where it wants to come back to healing, it wants to come back to balance. So when I work with cancer patients, first of all, we talk about not an illness, but the first thing I tell them is reframe your current health challenge as an imbalance in your body. Right? It's not an illness, it's an imbalance, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And the work we do is about bringing that balance back holistically on all those 4 levels. And of course the subconscious.
I like that.
That's a good.
Please do tell your friends, please do post about it on social media or regular media, or just yell about it outside. Heal Documentary is the website. We have 40 minutes of DVD extras, as you can imagine. There's a lot of stuff that didn't go in the film. There's a whole story on autism that we had to cut out of the film, a 10-minute short film. So all that's included when you get the DVD or the iTunes digital download.
And I also have, if anyone's interested, I have brochures here, and if you'd like to be on my mailing list to receive a newsletter, I put a wellness letter out all the time, so please sign up. Thanks.
Thank you all for coming tonight. Thanks.